Hi, everybody. Welcome to Reading This Week. Last week we worked with prefixes, and this week we are going to continue to work with some prefixes. So last week we worked with un and re, and this week we're working with pre and miss. By the end of the week, you should know the general meaning of the prefix pre and miss, and you could add them to a few words and understand how they change a base word. All right, so let's talk about a base word. A base word is also known as a root word, ROOT. And all it means is you have a word that is the original word. Nothing has been added to it. No ing, no ed, no prefix, no un, no re. It's original. So there are words like cook, read, tie. Now, what is a prefix? A prefix is a part, a chunk, a syllable that will go at the beginning of a word to change the meaning of the base word. So here we have three examples. We have redo, which means do it again. We have unhappy, which means not happy. We have the one that we're going to be working on today, which is preheat means heat before you need to cook it. So anytime that you have a base word and you add these prefixes that we're learning, it's going to add the word again, not, before. So just know that not all prefixes fit on every word, but when they do, they become their own syllable and they change that base word's meaning. All right, so this is a really neat little poster to kind of review last week. We had the prefix un, which means not. Untie means not tied. We had the prefix re, which means do it again. So rework means work it again. So if you have to, like, say you made a puzzle and you didn't quite get the pieces in and you had to pull it all out and kind of start over, you have reworked the puzzle. Sometimes when we send you back to your seat, it is because you need to rework on a paragraph. You need to work it again. You need to do it again. Okay. Now, today, what we're working on is pre. So, pre means before. So, you have words like prescription, precise, preheat, prevent, premature, present, precede, precaution, prescribe, prepare, and prefer. And all it means is that we've had a base word and we've put this chunk of sound before it, pre, and we're saying now we're going to change the meaning of that base word. So if you look at school, school could mean kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to 12th grade. But when you add pre to it, it means before regular school. So if you go to preschool, you have to go to school before you start kindergarten, because kindergarten is regular school. Preschool is school you go before you start regular school. Okay, so here's the word view, and now we have a preview. And that means that you get to look at it or view it ahead of time. So if you go to a movie preview, that means the movie isn't out where everybody can see it. It's a little neat thing that you get to do before you go see the real movie. You preview it. Sometimes I like to preview a movie, like I'll turn it on for a few minutes and I'll kind of check it out. And I'll be like, nah, I don't want to watch that. Or, yeah, that is really good. That's previewing it before I go and I view it. Now, preheat means to heat before. There is no baking. Like if you're baking cookies or bread, you always have to preheat your oven, meaning get your oven temperature up before you actually do the cooking. So do you see how this word works now? All right. Now, here's one example of it. Pre-write. The ideas before you write. So that's our mind map. That is reading. That is jotting down notes. And then you go ahead and write. and that's a pre-write. And then you write it again, and that's a final write. All right? Our next one is prepay. I always prepay for my sports tickets before I go to a game. So it means to pay before you need to buy something. I always prepay my gas before I pump it. All right? Pre-cook. That means like sometimes like I'll cook onions, I'll pre-cook them, and then I'll put them in a dish that's being cooked in the oven. So it's cooking before it's needed. Preview, I just explained that one to you. You're going to watch a little snippet or look at something before you're really supposed to. Preschool, I explained that one too, is anything before regular school, which is kindergarten. Kindergarten begins regular school. Some of you went to preschool, some of you did not. I didn't go to preschool. Prevent. This means to stop something before it happens. So when Mr. Alfredo puts up the yellow caution tape, he's preventing you from falling on a wet spot. Prepare. This means to get something ready before it's time to do it. So like when you pack your suitcase the night before you leave, you have prepared for your trip. Maybe you go out and buy food before you go camping. You've prepared for your camping trip. All right? So now let's look at them in sentences. Pre means before. I needed to prepare for my test, which means I needed to study before I took my test, especially your spelling test. Did you prepay our tickets for the concert? So did you go and pay for them before we go and pick them up? I had to pre-cook the onions before I added them to the stuffing. So that means I cooked them before I put them in the stuffing, which went in the oven to cook. It is always good to pre-write. Oh, I've got a mistake there. It is always good to do a pre-write of your paragraph. I made a mistake reading it. And that just simply means that you do that mind map. You do a rough outline of your paragraph, and then you clean it all up and you make it beautiful and you turn it in. That's what a pre-write is. I did not go to preschool, which means I did not go to school before kindergarten. All right. And the last one, we had to prepare for our trip to Disneyland, meaning that we had to get ready before we actually left for the trip. So there you go. So far you've learned which means not, which means do it again, and pre, which means before you do something. All right. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.